Good evening, Jace.
Good evening.
Just let me adjust my rabbit ear antenna here on my computer. It's the only way we can get internet here in Canada. Sure hope the squirrels don't stop running outside that are powering the wheel that powers the machines that powers the studio. Yeah, we have a crew here in chat, including some complainers. Ryan, a wait screen is precisely that. You wait there.
Yeah, exactly.
When the show starts and then you wait, that's what the wait screen does. Just letting you know that. Plus, I
Wow.
feel crappy and cranky. So watch out, internet. Um, Before we get into all the things, we'll tell you what we're going to talk about. Then you can decide whether you want to be here with us this evening. And then Jace will kick off his much more exciting weekend than he had. And then I will tell you about my really crappy weekend. And if I look like crap, that's because I feel very much like that. Then we will get into some Legion, a ton of perk stuff. I have been at home the last couple days here. And here I've been not at work for several days, but I have been here, so I was able to get a little bit of work in between the work that I was doing from home. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Legion, and we don't have much to recap in the Legion play world, but hopefully that will change for me here in the next little bit, including some league games. Um, yeah, fair enough. I'm allowed to be cranky. That's right. You tell Ryan that too. Jace, today we're going to cover basically our hobby week last week because you did not do any Legion and nor did I, but I did some Legion related things and you did some things not related to Legion at all.
You
Um,
bet.
we'll talk about the league. There's some dates to keep in mind, particularly if you're in the league, but if you're not in, some dates to keep in mind of what you might want to be penciling in for the upcoming rounds. Then we'll talk a little bit about the AMG points drop in terms of we believe it's coming in December and some thoughts around that. And then we're going to do a Make It Better segment where we're going to help Ryan, who, if you didn't know, has already won Worlds, but we're going to help him get good between now and when Worlds actually happens. And then there's a ton of cool perks that I've been working on, all Legion related, and so be a little show and tell. And we'll do that, and we'll give you some updates on the Christmas show, or the holiday show, I should say. There's a ton of sponsor promos, but more importantly, some Black Friday deals that you probably may or may not be aware of, but you should be if you aren't. And then if we have some time, we'll do roundtable. Yeah, that should be what we'll have for tonight. So why are we talking about the X-Wing points update? Okay, all right. So Ryan's starting early. So good news flash. Ryan's also cranky. All right, Jace. So tell us about your weekend. No Friday night fights this week, by the way.
Hmm.
So that was not part of the gaming weekend, but game somewhere else.
Yeah, I did. I played 6 games, in fact, but not here and not for Legion. So I took the fun 21-hour drive down to Indianapolis, which was an interesting experience in and of itself. Hitting downtown Chicago at like 3 a.m. It's pretty interesting. But I went down there to play Flames of War, and specifically in the Flames of War Masters tournament. Um, and yeah, so I ended up playing 6 games there. Did not do nearly as well as I had hoped. Only got 2 wins and 4 losses, but my losses were close enough and my wins were big enough that still ended me 7th out of 18
Yeah,
players.
I
So,
saw that. I was looking at the field and like top to bottom, like maybe the last like four places, but top to bottom, there wasn't a lot of point separation.
so going into the 6th round, there were 10 people that mathematically could get first,
Yeah, I saw that.
and
I
I
was
was
keeping
one of them.
track of the rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was really close. During the Masters tournament, they always do like something different. Like they tweak the game so it's not like a normal tournament. So you don't like sometimes you have to bring multiple lists and pick a random one to play each time, or it's a different points level, and different rounds are different points levels. And this year it was an Iron Man format. So whenever you ended up losing a unit, you'd have to it's gone for the next game. And then at the end of every round, you get 20 points to buy back any units you've lost. So people were a lot more cautious because you don't want to be the person that's playing down points. And spoiler alert, there was one person in round three playing with 53 of his 100 points.
Yikes. Yikes. So
So
it's a bit of an uphill climb if you got down early. So yeah, you said you had
yeah,
two early losses, eh? And then
I did.
did that hurt you for like 4 and 5 or 3 and 4?
Uh,
I mean, or
Not really. Yeah, I had two early losses, but they were 3-6 losses, which is the closest you can get. So I got every loss I had, I got the maximum amount of points I could in the loss. But I had two losses, then I had one win. Um, I had a 7-2 win, which is a middle-sized win, and then I had another 3-6 loss, an 8-1 win. So I won
big
as
one.
maximum as I could. I lost nothing, destroyed my opponent, and then I had another 3-6 loss at the very end. It was unfortunate because two of my games came down to really just me rolling average and my opponent rolling very, very good.
Hmm.
Um, when they're rolling 3-up saves and they roll like 25 of them in a row without rolling a one or a two, it kind of hurts a little bit. But
Yep.
yeah, not much you can do about that.
Right. No, it's yeah, that was interesting to follow a lot of familiar names there for sure. Or names that I would recognize. Like people have been playing some Flames of War for a long time.
Oh, yeah, like
Like there's just
15, 20 plus years almost.
yeah, it's a bit of an older crowd than the
Yeah.
Legion world. So cool. Was John? Did you see John Matthews? Was he there for the Masters or?
No, he was not there.
Oh, okay.
So
Who's running the events? Like who's the main guy?
I don't know because that person for Battlefront has like switched so many
Yeah, I
times
think
over.
for a
They've had like
while.
three or four guys in the past like 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Um, so
Gotcha.
what they ended up doing for this is they didn't send anyone and they just got one of the locals. They got Andrew Hobson to run it.
I saw Andrew was posting. So, and did Andrew not
Yeah.
play?
No, no,
Oh,
he
okay,
wasn't
gotcha.
playing.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
him posting and keeping up, keeping track of things. So,
yeah,
yeah,
he didn't qualify, so he got the job of TOing everybody.
right, fantastic. Striker pointing out, I saw him share this in the
Yeah,
Discord. Is Din going 26 out of 30 for saves? That seems pretty good.
I wish my Din could save that good. You've seen my Dim on live stream. He doesn't save that
Yeah,
good.
Din or IG, it's one or the other. They switch off
Yeah.
whether who does what. So cool. Well, and then you had another 21-hour drive back, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, finishing 2 and 4, and ending in the top 10 is still pretty good. The other thing too, though, is like the winner only won 4 games. Like I don't think any person there won more than 4 games.
Yeah, it's a different scoring system. Like
It's
that's
a
why
very different scoring system.
yeah, and I liked we when I was playing, because they switched that system. We would only have it was 6-1, right? 6-1 was the
Yes.
highest. So now
Yeah.
there's a few more points. So you can have a bigger point spread. But when you're playing
Hmm.
6-1 and a lot of games were 4-3 games, those
Yeah.
tournaments
You're
like
close.
yeah, but then there's an inherent trade-off there though, because you
Hmm.
don't lose a game there and then say, "Well, I'm out." Like because
Yeah.
there is some Legion events where it's like if you don't win a game, if you don't go like 3-0, you
Exactly.
aren't bumping up to the next round. So you typically played more games in that certainly the bigger events. So you'll play like 6 games or quite average ETCs, all 6 games. So you can
Yeah.
have those one or two. You can even have a bad loss and then flip that and
Still come
have a
back.
big wide margin victory and come back from that. So there's something to be said about that scoring system. So
Yeah.
yeah, you
And the
did
whole
try.
reason I was still, yeah, and the whole reason I was still in contention was just because all of my losses were those 3-6 losses where I was getting the max points, and those some of those people who won and only got 4 wins and were like first, second, third. Some of their losses they only got like 1 point, right? Like they just got almost wiped off the table. So
Right.
those close losses are what were able to keep me in the game and keep me in the tournament.
That's good.
And
Main
yes,
thing is you
yes,
had some
Ryan.
fun. You had some fun when you were there.
Yep, had some fun. Drank a lot of coffee on both road trips. Ryan clearly was not listening to the start
to
of this
to
episode.
the opening, yes, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yes, Ryan. I
Ryan will
drove.
tune in and out here, so hopefully he'll get half good by the end of it. Um,
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, so Jace, he did some driving, a lot of driving, and got to do that. I had the unfortunate, weekend of being in the hospital with my baby. So 3 days of hospital stays and having to be on oxygen and monitoring O2 monitors for the whole weekend. Not awesome. That is not something I look forward to being as a dad. That is real downside, but I got to experience that, and we've been there before, so we've had quite a stint in the last 3 years. But anyway, that is why there was no show on Tuesday, because Jace was just returning from a huge 40-hour road trip, and I was just getting home from spending 3 days and nights in the hospital. So not cool. But here we wanted to do the show because the show must go on. And we're at home and we're monitoring and doing the things that we need to do. So anyway, that's why there was no show. So I always feel like I owe explanations when we're not on regular schedule. But here we are. I have no idea what he's eating. The Q&A session will be afterwards, Ryan. We'll answer all your questions at the very end. So, Brett,
Brett's got it.
Thank you. Brett's got him sorted out there. Awesome. So anyway, we're back home, and now we're just monitoring from here. Yeah, she's doing better. I don't think we're by any means all top shape, but we're here, and we're getting rested, and I'll be back to work tomorrow because I've had to do a lot of monitoring here at the home. But we've avoided the hospital for today, so we're doing better than we were. So. What else do we got going on tonight? Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the points drop, as mentioned, episode 148, anticipating to come sometime in December. So who knows, maybe before our next episode, or who knows, maybe it'll be on the nearer or to the last Friday night fight. I will say this, when we do our 30th episode, if the points drop is out, and the 30th, keep in mind there is still a day after the 30th that they could drop it. We will try to play with as many adjusted point units as possible, just to see and give you a look and feel how we think they work out. So, yeah, thank you, Canadian Bear. Appreciate that. We're also going to talk about Friday night fights, of course, all things Friday night fights, not necessarily about the upcoming one. If they're, we're still working that out. Maybe Anthony and I will play in all the self-stream if that is the situation that we're at. Just do a little banter rep. That'll be fun. But we do anticipate bringing you the Friday night fight, and there's inherent drive for us to get them in, and I'll explain why in the upcoming screens. And then, of course, we'll give you a little bit of a Season 2, Round 1 update on the league. So, yeah, let's jump into a few things here, Jace. We'll jump back and forth between these screens, of course, but as mentioned, since I have been home for a day here, I did do a little bit of studio work in between a lot of phone calls and doing schoolwork. And that's just the inherent trade-off of being at home. The work doesn't stop, so you get it done, and in between able to do things in early mornings because I've been up for a lot of these last few nights. I was able to get some computer work going on and getting some things done. So I have been sharing on the social medias, Jason, in case people don't know where to find us on the social medias. Maybe you could let them know where we're at.
Yeah, definitely check us out on Facebook at Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, Twitter and Instagram at Legion_FNF, and definitely check out the Patreon at the Terrain Studio for lots of cool content and some upcoming perks.
You bet. I'm going to get into that. So a little discussion in chat. Jake saying that on the website they said early December. That just means in December, as what I've come to learn. So I'll take in the month any time as acceptable. So looking at the Patreon perks, this is one that I'm super proud of, and I've been tweaking and adding and fine tuning it. But I am nearly there on the 2023 edition of the card sleeves this year. As you guys know, I've done battle sleeves before, sort of command hand ones. Then I did battle deck ones, and then I decided to go back to I guess you can use them for command hands. This would be fine. I mean, you can use them for battle decks if you want as well. But I'm going to do a little bit of a faction-themed one here. So just looking at some of the features, obviously you got to tie in the Terrain Studio and the FNF logo. So that's in there. A little bit of fan art via the faction logos. And this just in, I didn't even have this in the graphic, but I have been working on this one in the background. And then there is your CIS variant. I do not have any for clones. Jace pointed out earlier, maybe I'm just
This
fine
is it.
with three.
These are the three factions that people play. This is it. That's it. That's all that's in the game.
Yes, that could be fair in many statements. So just to be very clear about these as well.
Clones don't exist anymore.
Not a for sale item at all. This will be going to supporters on the Patreon. You can stay tuned on the Patreon on how to get them and and when we'll be rolling them out. I don't have an exact date on these, but that is what they're looking like. I appreciate the feedback. If you guys want to give anything, any ideas or thoughts, Justice does play clones. That is accurate.
Justice
Yeah, but
doesn't exist.
yeah, fair enough.
Figment of your imagination.
But I'm liking where they're coming from. I like what the style. I like the little color splash that's different from our own, and I think they're Star Wars esque enough that they'll fit the bill for Legion. So that will be coming to the Patreon as well as mentioned. And these were supposed to arrive on the 28th and then bumped to Friday. So I was like, oh, fantastic. Then that got bumped. There's a little bit of a storm, so moved to Monday. It's now Wednesday, although they still say arriving Monday. So they are at the the UPS distribution center somewhere in the city. They just have not arrived on the doorstep, but I do have some to send out to folks for last episode. So those folks that called in the roundtable, that is the perk for you. That is not happening today, but there is another way that people can unlock some stuff, and I will explain how that works as well. And yeah, the last thing and the thing that people have been asking for the most is I got the new sample in of the token. I did share it on the onto the Discord, and I actually forgot to send it to myself. Uh, just turning on my Wi-Fi here for a second. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I bet you guys are hearing me through the wrong microphone. There we go. Do you have me back, Chase?
We're back now.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I actually clicked the wrong button when I did that and turned off my Roadcaster. So I have shared the photo in the Discord, and these are for the new tokens. So the new token style is finalized. Basically, the changes were silhouetted the logo a little bit more, turned down the background logo so it's a bit lighter. If you guys have seen the samples, I did the dark, light, and the medium tone. That is the middle one if you see the image, and so that is what they're going to look like. Again, these are not going to be a for sale item. They're going to strictly be a Patreon exclusive. This is my next thing that I'm at here, so these will be ahead of the card sleeves, but behind the stickers. And I will explain to you how that's going to work on the Patreon. I'll, of course, share it on here as well, but this is going to be the token set size. So we're going to do 4 commanders, 4 operatives, 8 core, 4 special forces, 4 supports, and 2 heavies. So if you're adding that total up, we're looking at what, 26 tokens here, I think is the math on that. So it's going to be a rather large token set. You guys, if you've had any of our previous ones, they're high quality. Jace can speak for them. They're legit poker chips. They got a nice riffle and sound to them. And so the sets will be rather large. We'll put them on there. That will include the shipping cost when you go there. You'll join a certain tier. When that elapses, we'll get them ordered and then we'll send them off to you, and then you can leave the tier or do whatever you like. But that will be how that works. So you'll be supporting the channel, supporting the work that we do, and then in addition, you'll be able to get the perks. So that is what that is looking like. And then I'll just give you a close up of those. So there is your operative token. Sorry, did I miss the command token? Sorry, there is the operative token, the core token, the special forces token, the support token, the heavy token, and for some reason there's 2 operatives. So let me grab that one for you real quick because, of course, you need to see what they look like. Let me grab the command token. There you go. There is the command token for you there. Oh, Ryan says, okay, I will get these. Finally, we've made something worthy of Ryan's patronage, if you will. So, but I do appreciate all the folks that have been on there already, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, everything you got to understand that how we fund what we do each and every week, multiple times a week, is through the Patreon. So the support helps, but of course we like to give back the perks, and then we got a few methods to do that. So What do we do here? Well, Friday Night Fights, that's one of the things that, in addition to the podcast each week, we also do, as well as the Patreon content. Don't forget, there's a whole other, studio element to this little endeavor that we got going on here as well. But we want to thank all our sponsors there. We'll do that real quick.
I think you might be muted on this one, Sean.
Boop, you guys can't even hear me here. I do want to
Nope.
say, now you can. I forgot I added in all these drop screens without turning the microphone on. So Deep Cut Studios does have a Black Friday sale going on this November 25th to the 27th. 40% off some items, and then 20% off your other items when you use that Black Friday code. Great time to get a gaming mat. So if you've seen us use the mats, you want to go get yourself 20% off. This is as good a code as we ever have. So 20% off is 20% off. If you can find yourself a Legion mat at 40% off, absolute steal. So go jump over there. Don't miss out on that. Legion Terrain as well, another sponsor here for us in studio. They also have a promo going on. Their promo is a Black Friday sale as well. Different thresholds. So as it gets closer to the Black Friday, better deals, but quantities will be limited. So don't hesitate, jump over there. Want to thank Imperial Terrain as well, another sponsor. We have a set coming for Imperial Terrain, should be here any day now, so look for that on the Friday Night Fight table. They also, you guessed it, have a Black Friday sale going on through November 27th. Black Friday IT22, and you get 20% off any of their STL files. Fantastic. So there you have it. Imperial Terrain, Legion Terrain, and Deep Cut Studios all doing Black Friday sales. Tell them we sent you. Speaking of our great folks and supporters, we want to thank our donators as well as our patrons, past and present. And if you guys don't know, and I'm going to highlight this because I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, I can throw all of that in the Discord. Absolutely, Ryan, when I'm done the show, I will do that. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and it's selfish in us to say we don't want to miss out on this opportunity, but it's good for us in a way. Well, it's great for us in a way. So we have an anonymous challenge happening right now. So the anonymous challenge says up to the next $275 we get donated, we will have an anonymous donator who's going to match that dollar for dollar. So if Jace donates $5 to us, that becomes $10. That's good for us. Thank you for the donation. Thank you, Anonymous, for matching that. However, Anonymous didn't want to be outdone by our one and only Stan Parks. And so Stan has said he will match donations as well up to that 275 mark. So what does that mean? That means that for every dollar that comes in, we're going to get it tripled. Jace gives 5, it goes to 15. Someone gives 20, it goes to 60, up to a 275 threshold. That is going to be a great way to push us. That is open, and the offer stands from now until December 30th or until the 275 is reached, which is great. What are we racing for? I finally settled out on the camera that I think we're going to add in. And the only reason I say think is that unless there's some sort of compatibility issue that I can't find, this will be the one. And this is the Bird Dog P200. If you guys have been watching the AMG streams, and I didn't get this because AMG has this, but I think AMG did their research, because in my research, I also arrived at this being a fantastic PTZ camera. So this is the P200 by Bird Dog. They have a black version of this. This is just a white version. There make no difference. It's cosmetic difference. But if you have seen the images and the ability for them to move their camera around and get those different shots, they're doing it with this camera. So this is going to be on the docket for us. We're hoping to raise the funds to get there. The triple the donation is a nice, fast way for us to get there. So yeah, it's Bird Dog. That's what it's referenced as. So yeah, that's I'm not sure the history behind the name or the logic, but that is what it is called. So the P200 1080p full NDI PTZ. So it feeds through NDI, which is great. It also has an Ethernet power, which is fantastic. All that is technical stuff you guys don't even care about at all. I do, and I want to make sure the dollars go to the right thing. Now, to top that off, the next 5 donators, we said this, we opened this up on Tuesday. The next, no, not copying AMG. I'm just telling you that, and most people wouldn't even know that. They haven't even advertised that. So unless you're looking in the background and a geek about cameras like I am, you wouldn't even know that. So the next 5 donators that we get, we had said we are going to send them um, the limited edition stickers because we only got very limited in of this first run, and we're also going to send them a full set of the card sleeves, all 12 card sleeves that were a Patreon exclusive as well. So if you make a donation, not only is it going to be tripled, but we're going to send you a set of card sleeves and a sticker in the mail just to say thank you. That'll be for the first 5 donators within the time period. So all kinds of time sensitive, unlock all the secrets. We have the best fans, and that's why we're able to do that stuff. We wanted to make sure we give some more giveaways to you. And on top of that, Jace, we have so many giveaways.
Oh,
Um,
so many giveaways.
so just to run it down real quick, there's 5 battle forces. Just to be real clear, that's 5. So in Canadian dollars, that's like 1,000,000. In American dollars, it's like 1,000. So it's a lot of dollars. We have card sleeves to give away, 14 sets in fact from Back to Basics. We got a Bosk, we got a Sabine, we got a custom brush set. They're custom made by Back to Basics set. We got some alt arts given to us by Dice Time. We have Din and a Grogu and IG 11 box sets. Those are going to be for our donator wall, so that's the only thing you have to do to get into that. All the rest of them, you just need to be there on December 30th. We're having 3 commander / operative, your choice, painted by 48th Ronin Painting Studio. So winner gets choice and then sent to them a painted model. And Legion terrain, Imperial terrain are going to come through for us as well. I think we're going to do some like codes where winners can just go to the site and pick out items that they want to get. So we'll fine tune the details and get those exactly for you before the 30th. We're still working on some other stuff, so we hope to have more. I'm going to do some Gamers Grass add-ons as well, and then we are going to have a set of the activation tokens free. So one lucky winner is just going to get a set of those for free, and there'll be some substantial value behind that as well. So all of those things are going to be in there for you. Ryan, thank you. Ryan coming through with a little giveaway for us. Thank you. Or sorry, a little donation for us. Thank you very much, sir. Now he's going to be the proud owner of a set of sleeves and a sticker. Ryan better be careful because he might work himself all the way in to the jersey level, even though he's resisted being part of the actual FNF crew. So there is that. But I don't know, Jace. He's making fun of us for copying AMG. He sounds a little bit like a fanboy to me. If
Yeah,
there was
he's the one
ever,
enabling us.
if there was ever a definition, that is accurate. Yeah, Ryan, you've actually put us one step closer to being as good as the AMG streams. So there is that. There is that. So, copying AMG, does this mean that we'll see delays in the giveaways from the Christmas stream? You will not, sir. Have we let you down before? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, like, I doubt it.
All right. Second email check. What do we got coming in here? We got all kinds of stuff going on here. I'll keep track of what's happening in on the phone world here. So don't let me miss anything. So if you guys hit us up, let me know. I'll make sure to get you guys on the stream for sure. Okay, news, Jace. In the news, I'm not sure if you had any time on the weekend to even keep track of things, but and I know we're not going to be a Shatterpoint thing, but I did want to share this in fairness because, one of these units, 2 of these units, we don't have yet in Legion, but we know are coming. But they released some really fantastic artwork, and some people were talking a little bit about the style and the nostalgia that this sort of brings back. I don't care about the nostalgia. I'm just liking the stances here. Does this mean we're gonna get like a double crossover like lightsaber wielder in the future? Like another Maul wouldn't be bad. This is a much nicer pose for Asajj. I would have loved this for Legion, personally. But like that looks sharp to me. Graham coming through here with geez, what am I missing? Oh, Leah, I'm missing all kinds of things here. Sorry. Jacob Witt coming through with a donation. So Jake, let me set aside a little donation pile for you. Thank you very much. By the way, that's tripled. We got Ryan already, and then Graham coming through with another donation in here. Thank you very much, Graham Cull. So let's just triple that up and set that one on the little side. That means we got 2 more, Jace. We're doing well. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Crushing it.
So back to the artwork here. What do you think about it? And do you like it? Do you like the art style?
I think it's pretty good. There's some that I like, some that I'm a little less keen on, but I mean overall, it looks pretty good. It has that Clone Wars cartoon feel, which I mean works well because the core box seems to be almost exclusively Clone Wars.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. I like it. I like that AMG kind of went down that concept art. And if you remember back to when they were talking about the Pikes and the Black Suns, and they kind of walked us through like all the weapon, the schematics for the weapons and all the different variants that they were looking at, and the research that they went into to do that, and some of the inspirational art. I like that. I feel like that was from a mini extravaganza that they kind of went through
yeah,
that. And yeah, I like that element and component. So while again I'm probably not going to go down the Shatterpoint rabbit hole, I'll continue to pop up thing and give props when I think they're doing cool stuff. So I don't know the artist, by the way, so it's all Lucasfilm Limited, but I I don't know if they mentioned or if I missed it, but if I can find the artist name, I'll make sure I put that in there. Maybe they didn't share it, but it's really really good. I agree, Jake. They do have an amazing art department. Whoever they have working with them, I'm sure it's multiple people. Kudos to all that great work. So, excuse me. Striker pointing out Tony's streams. Absolutely, Tony does a fantastic job with that. So you are correct. We can all learn something from somebody if you look hard enough. So agreed. I like some of the stuff that they're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I do have one criticism from the last live stream, and it had nothing to do with the camera work. But I will share that just because I want to be full transparency. I want to give my actual takes on stuff. So kind of ironic here. They put out no stream on their Twitter and just said no streams this week. This was just like yesterday. They'll be back Tuesday and Wednesday for painting streams, and it sounds like those will be the final ones for the year. I don't know what they'll be. Let's hope that we get another Legion one because sometimes they put a couple leaks in there. So no stream if you've been waiting for live streams. Sounds like they're just going to do two painting streams, and then that's it, folks. And then ironically, though, they also put out a hey, we're live gameplay last week. And so we should have got our Legion fix here, is what I'm hearing. So this is what they were doing. So I didn't watch this stream yet, and I do want to go back because they did kind of reveal how to play the downed X-wing scenario. They didn't show the cards, to my knowledge, but they did explain them and did a well enough job that I think people fully understood what was going on. But the one criticism, if you look at this downward, now I don't know if this was specifically to show off the scenario or the terrain. One would think that it was to show off both, but I didn't love the map that they chose for this because I think from the top down, it really muted the actual X-wing. They did such a good job blending it in that it kind of took away from the model itself. Even in the side images where they had it specifically highlighted, I didn't think we were able to see kind of enough of it. And so I would have
yeah,
loved to have just a different way to feature it, or even if it was like a different focal point somewhere to highlight it a bit more. It just sort of blended into this one a little bit too much. I do like that they showed you that it can be a non-snow downed X-wing, and they can do a few other things. So um, yeah, the nose part does vanish, but honestly, the whole thing sort of blends in. And maybe it's because the buildings are so large and sort of stark against the background. But again, just aesthetically, not my would not have been my preference for that. But nonetheless, I won't complain about having Legion streams. So, and then it
yeah.
looks like they had a few other visual graphics sort of added in this time. So they're adding to each and every stream and getting better. And I think that's how the progression goes. I need to get better at each and every stream, and if I'm not, then I feel like I'm going backwards. So, um, yeah, tell Dallas to do a worse job next time. I think the paint job's fine. I just think that I would have liked to see more of it. Would have liked to see more of a focal point because, and I'm sure it's easy on the table to like pick up the transition, but no, blended very very well. I just would have loved to see a little bit more of a spotlight on it. So yeah, that's just my one criticism. But I'm not sure how the scenario played out. Many people I heard were saying it was pretty cool. So um, yeah, but I do love that mat though. We have that mat in studio. We just haven't been featuring a lot because we
Hmm.
have so many deep cut ones. But Yeah, the models were painted. Fair, fair. Yeah, the models were painted. We also, in fairness, we also switch up our stuff. I was saying to Jace that I feel like we've sort of seen this table configuration slash terrain a lot. So I would love to see some diversity as well. Yeah, though they have absolutely have used a different mat, the lava mat that they used, but I think they took quite a few gripes about that because that one is very hard to see anything on. So I'm glad that they moved to this one. I'm good with all of the features on here. I just thought and maybe the X-wing is just a little bit too muted. Maybe that's kind of the piece here
Yeah.
as well. So, but anyway, whatever. It's a cool feature. Looking at that, Jace, any surprises on the size, or is it about what you expected? It seems fairly large. Like
It seems fair.
it's got a lot of real estate, like in and around the X-wing.
Yeah, like which is what I thought. I thought that part would be large, but then it still runs into the issue I have, and I mean you can kind of see it in the bottom photo here. It doesn't really like it's large like width wise, but it's not
Hmm.
really that big tall wise, so it doesn't really hide that much. It's kind of like a giant barricade and not like that much of a line of sight blocker.
Yeah, in fairness, I think it does make a pretty good centerpiece for a table if you didn't want to go
Yes.
with an LOS blocker in the middle, and it's got a pretty substantial base. So if you're worried about that kind of like easy cover KP middle, um, I think that this accomplishes both by not being too large in the sense that it's going to block every mini, but then also not being too small where it can be covered by a single base. So Justice, I got you, my friend. I'll pop up the PayPal for you. You will claim the fourth of the sets going out. So one more. You guys have done fantastic tonight. By the way, all those are tripled, which is really really good for us. So Justice, just for you, right there, the Terrain Studio 2019 at gmail.com. Greatly appreciated, my friend. If anyone sneaks in past the five, even if I can't hit you up with a card sleeve set, I will send you a holographic sticker. So you'll be getting something those other folks won't. I don't want to miss out anyone who wants to jump in on that tonight. So the Train Studio 2019 at gmail.com. Make sure you guys hit us up a little note in the comments. Greatly appreciated that. And I will keep track of that to make sure we don't miss any shout outs. All right, Jace, before we get into a few other things, let's hit a couple more shouts. Bryant at Phoenix Games Australia. Bryant, by the way, definitely coming through on the Christmas or holiday giveaway with not only two Battle Forces, but two additional box sets as
Ooh.
well. All of the folks tonight, Graham, Bryant, Jake, and Ryan, you'll also be entered and have a chance to get that Din and IG box set, one of the two. So that'll be a smaller pool that we'll pull from. That'll be just an extra bonus prize, and that was Bryant's stipulations, not ours. Want to thank Aaron at Back to Basics. Go check out Aaron. He's been running a ton of hobby streams. Go give him a listen. I have been linking him up in the Discord. I did miss the one on the weekend, obviously, because I was away and busy. But he is running that every Saturday night late for us, or later for us, about 8 o'clock our time. So it'll be a little bit later on the East Coast. But yeah, it's great little hobby streams. People jump in, they just hobby, they talk, they do all the things that we do, just in a physical form and working on some hobbies. So basically, what Jace is usually doing. So tonight he's eating
Yeah.
though. So all right, well
Yeah.
let's hit the news a little bit here. Jace, we got a little news from the streets tonight.
Yeah, we
Um,
do.
yeah, and so we've hit up the gameplay, we've done all that sort of stuff. The other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about was our own news from the streets, and that is in the form of the league season 2 round 1. I did put a little a shout to the folks in all the groups. I shouted at them to get going. The message was also to me, Jace, because I only got one game in the books. Now you got to give me a pass for this weekend because I wasn't able to do really anything game related, but I am looking to hit up all my games before the 13th of December because I'm going to jump back so you can see Jason's face here. So December 13th is going to be the end of round 1, and that's already the first 6 weeks in the books. So that's an important date. If you want to join the league for round 2, and it's open, you can join in at any time. That cutoff is going to be on December what I have the set December The 12th. So you got to get in your declaration. And I'll put the sign up immediately following tonight's episode. So if you're in the round now and you want to keep going, just hit I'm in. You just put a check mark, you're in. If you're not in the league and you want to join, you jump over to the channel. It's open to the public. You say that you're in. We are going to open up the voting on Friday for second round bans, and that's going to be Commander. And I'll put the instructions in there. Basically, everybody's going to put in 4 votes, 1 per faction, about the commander you want banned. You do have to vote for the faction you'll be playing, but you can always throw a vote to some commander that you have no interest in taking, but you must vote for 1 commander per faction. And that vote's going to run for a full week. And then on the 12th, we're going to have both lists and signups due. And then the 13th, we will go ahead. I think the 13th is, what is the 13th? The 13th is a Tuesday. Jason and I will do a launch show on December 13th announcing Pod 2. So you guys can go check that out. Let me drop the drop screen here so that you guys know where to go. There's the Discord link there. So it's discord.gg/7pxnmrmz. Take a screenshot of that quickly, and then that'll let you get to the Discord if you're not already there. As I said, December 12th, 2022, signups for the league. Join at any point for round 2. We'll run that another 6 weeks past that. So that will be happening. My phone also buzzed, and let me jump over here. What do we got going on? Justice coming through. Thank you, Justice. I already had your pile set aside, but thank you very much, sir. $25 donation. By the way, Justice, that's not $25. That's not a $50 donation. That's actually a $75 donation. You guys are knocking it out of the park tonight. We got one more spot for those card sleeves and a sticker if you want that extra perk. So your money comes in, it gets tripled, and we give you a bonus perk. Thank you very much for the support, Jason. I greatly appreciate that, as well as Anthony and all the other folks here in the crew. All right, Jace, it's time to make Ryan better at Legion. Are you ready?
Oh, you bet.
Okay, as I said, Ryan has already technically won Worlds. We've already secured the post-Worlds interview, which is great. I'm really looking forward to that. And this might be the list. And so you and I, Jace, by extension, may be solely responsible for Ryan winning Worlds. So it's a lot of responsibility on our shoulders. Jace is also an expert at receiving Blizzard Force punishment.
Oh,
And
100%.
so he's actually going to probably lead most of the conversation. I was hoping to actually play Blizzard Force this weekend, this past weekend, because my weekend Legion was supposed to involve a tournament on Sunday, obviously, for obvious reasons. I was unable to attend. So I didn't have FOMO, though, because I was so occupied with Zuri in the hospital. But I'm hoping the guys had a great time up there. Striker, I believe you gave the suggestion long ago about the cards. I was planning to bring my cards up and do a bunch of like, hey, I have all these extras. Here you are. I was unable to do that, but I do plan on doing that next time I go up. So I wasn't going to bring eWebs, I'll tell you that. But Ryan thinks this is the winning formula, Jay. So I'm going to present it here, and then we're going to get into this. If you guys don't know how the format works, we look at the list. We're going to make suggestions keeping the archetype of the list intact. We're then going to look at the command hand, objectives, deployments, conditions, and give all our suggestions for those, loosely based on the previous suggestions that we've given. And then we're going to send Ryan off into the wilds to do what he needs to do with that. And then we'll end off the show with a little roundtable. And if you guys want to jump in and let us know how we did on that, that is always accepted. All right, Jay, so here's what he has. He has Naked Veers. He has an officer. I think I might have... no, I don't think he had Binox. I think he had a Naked Officer as well. Naked Officer. He has 2 E-Web Blasters with the Barrage Generator. He has Snows with Flame, Sonic Imploders, and the Officer. He has 2 of those. He has 1 Snow Trooper with a Flame Trooper. He has 1 Snow Trooper that's naked. He has 2 Naked Speeder Bikes. And he has the 2 Stormtrooper heavy response teams in the form of the RT-97C and the DLT 19. Anthony with the early take has eWeb's delete list now.
Oh,
I
no.
have that power. It's going to look a lot like this, but that's way less entertaining. So we will put the list back up. But Anthony, totally appreciate the hot take there. So Jace, this is a 12
See,
activation, 800 point list. What are your suggestions? Where are we starting?
I don't think Anthony understands what Ryan's going for with this list. Obviously, because he brought eWebs, he's going for theme. So I would recommend getting rid of the heavy response teams because they do not fit the theme and just throw an ATST instead.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
eWebs clearly mean not a competitive list,
Well,
right?
here's the problem. So Ryan's suggested this enough that Anthony, my East Coast brother from another mother, um, has taken Ryan's advice, and so no
Ooh.
sentence ever spoken that had any weight started with "I took Ryan's advice." But what he's
Yeah, who
saying is he
says
bought
that?
two eWebs. So Anthony, hopefully you kept the receipt, because my advice is going to be to return them immediately for store credit or Pokemon cards. Whatever you can get, just get something back for those eWebs. Um, but no, Ryan likes the eWebs, and here we are. All right, so we have eWebs in the list. Now let's start here, Jace. Do you like the combo of two eWebs, two speeder bikes? And obviously, he has a bit more of a, well, I wouldn't even say he has a shooty list. Here's my problem with this. He has units that need to be up close and pressing the action, and we'll get into that more with his objective choices. And then he's got eWebs. Now I know Ryan will tell you eWebs can move. Yes, they can. They can move standby, move standby. Um,
Yep.
but unless you're able to move cover to cover off a single move off that base, there is a chance where they just get into a no man's land and exposed.
That is accurate.
Um, so for that reason, I'm not necessarily sure I'm all in on this. Then he's got two speeder bikes. What I've discovered as the only sort of approach to Blizzard Force. This is more a counter to Blizzard Force than it is necessarily a ringing endorsement for any one build. Um, but if your bikes get focused down, which they will, which is basically what you need to do,
100%.
from snipers or opposing barrages of some kind or alpha strikes, you sort of lose your ability to harass back flanks, or to push aside. So he's at 4. He's at half the number that many of the other Blizzard forces are that are taking out there. So I don't want to say that two speeder bike units is like half committed, but I think in Blizzard Force it feels like that. Now I ask you though, if you didn't take those, what do you replace them with? Are you going for eWebs, or do
I
you
mean,
think
if
your
you're
bike?
Ryan, yeah.
Right.
um, that is the question, right? Because your list building is so restricted. He's already filled up his 6 core. Um,
Yeah, like I don't. Blizzard Force is in a weird spot because I think that you
Drop him
have to.
and take off Vader.
Well, this is the thing, right? And so, keeping with the archetype, with Jason and I sort of pre-discussed
Yes.
this. The easy thing is to say, well, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take Veers. I'm not going to take, officer, or I'm going to take officer. I'm going to put op Vader in there. But I think you change the entire format of this build. Obviously, you're going to reduce in activations a little bit and have to do some changing around here. He's obviously has heavily invested in two particular snowtrooper units, and so you're basically going to have to collapse those two units in the E-webs and switch it over for a Vader, and then sprinkle in some more bikes. I just don't know if I like
Yeah.
Blizzard Force at two bikes. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think you were wrong with the ATST suggestion. Um, and I think the ATST suggestion actually lends fairly well for the list because the ATST can move, but can also set up positional fire as well. So it can get in the game a little bit quicker if you need to. It can also reach out a little bit further, and it's got a few more range bands, and I think that lends well to the list having multiple weapons in here. So um,
Yeah.
I get what he's going with the barrage generator. You want to add in that suppressive attack. Um, but is it barrage is the suppressive one, right? And that the overcharge is the impact? Do I have that right?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so.
And I think he's definitely wanting to play the suppression game. Obviously, with the snow troopers, again another great choice with the triple split fire. So I don't hate
Yeah.
that, but I think that I would rather have the four bikes with this, given the fact that I think he wants to press up with his snow troopers. And again, a little foreshadowing on some of the objectives that he's taken. I think he would benefit from having the bikes. And when you love a unit, I get it. You love a unit, and you're good with a unit, and you've used a unit a lot. But sometimes a great unit and a unit you love doesn't fit every build type. Um, he's got, I mean, I think the heavy response units are just a no brainer in this list. I think you just do
You
that,
have
add
to.
those first, whatever flavor you want to have, and then build around that. He's obviously going the four snow route. Three flamers is scary for sure. He
Oh yeah.
doesn't have the points to just straight swap e-webs for bikes because he needs 24 points to make that happen. So in order to do that, you're going to have to look at a couple options here, and that's going to be either dropping a flamer and probably I'm not sure what's a flame trooper worth. The points on that. I have it open here. Probably you can just do that. Looking at a flamer's 20 points, and an officer is what's an officer in there? Officer 17, so 37 points. If he dropped an officer and a flamer, and he's looking at needing what we say 24. Like
Yeah.
he could drop a what are sonic imploders worth? Are they worth? Are they a 3 point grenade or are they a 5 point grenade?
Two or three. Two or three, I
I feel
think.
like
I think
they're
they're
I feel like they're
probably three.
three, yeah. So not quite enough. So he can't drop a flamer and a grenade and get enough points there. But I think if he wants to drop, he could drop officers if he wanted to do that route and then get enough to get the bikes. And I think you're probably okay with that. Um, he probably likes the officer in there, but I think he likes the flame. I think the triple flame's a better option there, all around. So my immediate suggestion here, and I'll go first, and you can agree or disagree. But I think you find a way to go to four bikes, and I'm dropping the e-webs. And I don't hate the e-webs so much in the build. I just think that two bikes is too much of a liability, and you're either going to have to be a
Yeah.
no bike list, which in the case I don't think you're taking Blizzard Force. But that's kind of where I'm at.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And I don't even hate the maximization of core here. Like a lot of people in Blizzard Force aren't running the core, and I could even see a world here where he keeps the officers, just drops the naked snow, gets the 44 points there. 24 points goes into covering off the extra bike, and now he has 20 points where he could go like double binocs if he wanted, like Veers and the officer. He could go for an improvised orders, which wouldn't be the end of the world. I think an improvised orders in
Yeah.
there not be bad, and having five core wouldn't be the end of the world either. Because I think, and having a backcapping flame trooper may seem like a little bit of wasted points. And so if you really wanted to there, he could drop that extra flamer and just replace that with a medical droid and then have a backcapper with a medical droid that he could use to double heal up the heavy response teams. So
Yeah.
so that would be some of my suggestions for Ryan there. So just recapping. E-Webs goes up to four bikes. He goes improvised orders and maybe some binocs options on the leaders, drops the flame trooper, drops one snow trooper altogether, then adds in a medical trooper into the flame, and that becomes his or into the snow trooper, and that becomes his backcapper there. So, what do you got, or
Yeah,
what do you
that's
like about those suggestions?
I like those. I think it's better. I agree. It's just two bikes. I can never make myself take two bikes just because two bikes are just so easy to kill. Um, like you're going to lose a set of two bikes very very easily.
How times have changed, eh, in Legion, where it's like for a while you were taking bikes and bikes were great for Empire. Then it's like, oh, who would take bikes? It doesn't matter how cheap you take bikes. No one's
Right?
ever taking bikes. Now it's like four bikes or bust. Like it's so funny the evolution of Legion. And it doesn't even have to be big points drops or changes. Sometimes it's just list archetypes. Sometimes it's the meta quote unquote meta that causes these changes. But yeah, how times have changed. So
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, well, let's get into a few other things here. We're an hour in the show already. Let's look at this command hand here. So again, keeping in mind this is a non-Vader build, and we didn't even touch Vader in there. So we're making this a non-Vader Blizzard Force, which I think can exist in the game. Um, he's got maximum firepower for 1 pip, unrelenting fire for the other 1 pip, overwhelming barrage is a 2 pip, push 2 pip, imperial discipline 2 pip, 3 pip, and then he's got debark for ground assault as his 3 pip. In our list changes immediately for me, Jace. I don't know if I'm needing Imperial Discipline if I'm not taking the
Yeah.
E-Webs.
Yeah, if you drop the E-webs, you don't really care about it. But if you take E-webs like he has so far, yeah, I think you want the card. But as soon as
Right.
you drop those, you can easily replace that with a different 3 pip.
Yeah, do you want to go coordinated fire there, or are you thinking just leaning a little bit more the generic assault?
Uh, Coordinated fire is really good.
It's the core troopers for sure. The only reason I ask is I situationally, if he's looking at a general Veers in 2 units, he's obviously looking at for the support tokens there. I don't mind a world
Yeah.
where if I'm playing this like mid game, maybe I've lost a bike unit at this point, or maybe I just need to make sure my bikes get orders. That it doesn't become a great card to get control on your bikes. Or maybe it's actually an early play card where you're getting control on most of your bikes, and then that one odd pull in the bike, you can improvise orders away from that bike pull.
Yeah.
So there is some control in that particular card. That would be one of the suggestions. I love the maximum firepower. I really love the max firepower backed up by the overwhelming barrage, or vice versa. For back-to-back alpha strikes off that. If you got somebody keeping units honest on their side, um, having back-to-back barrage cards is a great way to keep them honest longer. And
Oh,
better yet,
100%.
play one of them early and then maybe have a bit of a skip or a bit of a delay in the next one where you sort of they might play around you the second turn, like I'm not bringing things out because you're going to back to back barrage me, then not do it, and then you have them guessing, you have them on the back foot when you may come across the next barrage card. So I do agree, Jake, no problem. Any card that gives you recover is fantastic. In a non-compel list, it may be a value for sure. Um, but given the fact that he's got bikes, and he does have he's got two sources of inspire right in his list. Um,
Yes.
so I think you got some suppression mitigation for sure. You also have the spur card as well. If you're thinking along the lines that you might need that suppression mitigation to push those units. So if you're able to take a recover action on one particular turn with your troops, and then actually just use the spur to get back into position, if you had to burn an action with the recover, I think you still have the ability to do that for sure. So I like a control card more often than not, and I know this is somewhat control. Veers in 2 units. But that also means that Veers is up there and needing to issue that. There is a place where you actually might be able to push your officer ahead of Veers, and then have two sort of bubbles. And if the officer's a little further ahead, you might be able to extend that bubble off the officer. So
Yeah, definitely.
um, yeah. So any thoughts on the other 1-2 pips? I mean, I think you even though you've been hurt, you have basically PTSD after overwhelming barrage. I think you would agree that that's a great card to keep in there.
It's an amazing card.
And how
You
many more
keep both, but
keywords can you get on there?
right. Yeah. I mean, just change that surge to hit to just generic surge crit. I may as well just give everybody surge crit on that card, right? Like,
Yes, 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 yes. And immune deflect is just so good on this. Like,
yeah.
like having two, like effectively, I can go pick on some force users like early game or quickly if they don't have dodge tokens. Like these are great cards to trigger that. So,
Oh
um,
yeah.
I really like the unrelenting fire as well. Um,
Agreed. I love that card.
yeah, like if you're just setting a base of fire and you're like, I don't even care about the suppression at this point, I'll be fine with it. Sorry, not this card. Sorry, enemies can't remove the suppression, so it's like you get in that situation where this is like kind of the anti-recover card, right? It's like
Oh yeah.
I don't care if you have a recover card. I don't care if you can inspire or do all the things. This is just going to be a no go, right? And each enemy unit, each enemy unit cannot remove more than one. So it's like it's such a global effect there. And looking at his um, condition cards, I think this is going to couple nicely with it with a couple of choices that he took. So I do like that 1 pip. What's competing in that 1 pip slot that would even be up for consideration? Covert observation
I think you'd take Unrelenting Fire
for
over
sure,
Covert
for
Ops.
for sure. Yeah, there's just not a lot of competition there, right? And because he's not character heavy in here, I think the maximum firepower is an okay choice. Ambush doesn't really
Yeah.
seem it doesn't seem to add more value. This is a 2 unit
No.
1 pip card,
It,
which is great.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
absolutely
whole
fantastic.
the whole idea of it giving out two orders, it makes you take it over anything else.
Yeah, and I like the sort of generic flow that this deck has as well. That yeah, you're taking a couple Veers cards in here, but they don't seem like Veers is really activation crowding. Like he's not trying to take everything. And when you have improvised orders in this list too, it just gives you a little. If you have it, it just gives you a little bit more diversity on those pulls, right? So
Yeah.
I do like that. Debark for ground assault, great card. Love this card a lot. Core troopers gaining spur, and then more importantly, the units that are issued in order. In this case, it's going to be three. Gain suppressive, and all those weapons on those flame troopers feel so good. Unrelenting is locked to the rally step, so
Yeah.
inspire and recover get around it. Oh yeah, unrelenting fire is.
Yeah, because you can only remove more than one during your rally step. So you can
Oh,
still
rally step.
inspire.
Oh yeah, I guess you can get around it with those. So yeah, so it gets around a
But if they
few.
got that unit that needs to go first and is suppressed, like
True, true, true. Yeah, yeah. I guess it would get around. It wouldn't get around everything, but it's still a good card, and there's nothing, as I said, pointing in that 1 pip slot. So,
yeah.
um, yeah.
Like the two you take it for the two units. The text on the card is just extra.
Well, and another thing too is like it kind of shuts down. It kind of shuts down Indomitable pretty quick.
Oh, 100%, right? It's
So
amazing against Indomitable.
yeah, anything with Indomitable is going to really suffer from that. So yeah. I think, sorry, I was pointing not recover action, but it would get around when you're issued an order, you recover. So there is, so
Yeah.
not all recoveries it would get around, but yes. The recover action that the unit does itself, I guess it wouldn't get around. So yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't Sabine uh, have a rally card as well?
I believe she does.
Yeah, I think there's more than one Ryan that has a recover. Jace can have a look at that. So, yeah. So I don't hate any of the command cards here. I think maybe for me, I would just maybe take Assault over Imperial Discipline if, in fact, I wasn't going to take those E-webs. I can see a place for them to be in there if he wants to recover those generators. But
Sabine's is when she activates, though, not when
oh,
issued
okay.
in order. Veers is
Uh,
when issued in order.
Sabine Iden Veers is what Jake is saying. Yeah, but I guess there's some discrepancy about the window. But either way, it's not even on point with what we're talking about. But
Yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
really
I
matter.
do. I do. I'm happy with all the card choices. I think he did okay there. I also think that Blizzard Force is pretty much a no-brainer for most of the cards. It does become a little bit more difficult when you do enter Vader into the equation, in which case you're then having to make some choices. Overwhelming Barrage always seems to find its way into the deck, and some of the others don't. But if I'm finding room for cards, I think the 2 pip and the 3 pip are the strongest cards in the list for sure. Specifically with the build, and I do like Debark for Ground Assault on the heavy response units as well. When you find them in that 3 range band, they can be they can be exceptionally deadly with putting all those suppressive tokens out, or all those suppression tokens out, I should say. So, all right. Yeah, exactly. My point. Exactly, Jake. Okay, let's have a look at the command hand, or the battle deck, I should say, for the objective choices. So here's where he's at, Jace, right now: payload, intercept, key positions, and sabotage. Now, reminder of the build, just because it's been a few minutes since we've been back there. He had the double E-Web, double bike, 4 snows, 2 heavy response units, Veers, and the officer.
Yeah.
So payload you want to push, and I don't
Yeah.
really hate the build in terms of how he has it, but I still think that the bikes become better pushers than the E-Webs.
Agreed.
For a lot of reasons that I think you're going to start losing some. I think you're going to start losing some action efficiency in the E-Web, especially if it starts to chase.
Yeah.
The bikes are much better at striking the payload distance, like striking at your distance from, or striking your range from a distance, or shooting out ahead. And if you're able to get up on axe, or your opponent doesn't necessarily pile their cart as much as they should, you can get some real quick blocks on that. So payload, agreed, but I still think the tweak needs to happen to go to bikes. What do you feel about intercept and KP? And we'll kind of talk about them in a cluster in terms of they play fairly similar in terms of how you might approach it. Both have you going to the middle. The back ones typically end up being a little bit more safe. If we're going to go to bikes, do you like the fact that you have 4 bikes in intercept?
Not really. But I mean, you do also still have 8 other activations to score because your activation count's so high.
For sure.
Or you'd have
Absolutely.
7. You'd have 7, I guess, because you
Yeah.
need to drop something to get the E-Webs up to bikes.
Yeah, you go down to 11 with that. So
Yeah, because you need an extra 30 points.
yeah,
So, but
24, right? Is that what it was? 24, I think, total. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah,
if
right, because they got the upgrade.
I don't know if I like intercept. Like, why not? Again, I guess we're assuming that this is going to go to the 4 bike variant, and maybe this is a wrong assumption. But why not bombing run?
Yeah, right. If you go to the 4 bike one, I think you just get rid of it and take bombing run.
KP, I'm okay with. Your bikes can score on KP.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, you can go
KP,
score your back opponent's KP. Like
KP
your
is
opponent's
great.
back KP, I mean.
Oh, easy. Yeah. No, you keep KP with the bikes. I think payload's fine with the 4 bikes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think intercept for bombing run is a good choice if you go the
Right.
4 bikes.
Do you like sabotage?
That's the other one I'm not that fond of, for the
Yeah.
sole reason of the
Force
bikes want to
users.
sling forward, and
Oh.
trying not to lose them is tough.
And force users just seem to cause you a big headache um, on
Yep.
Sab, and without any real, like, he can press a back VAP and certainly harass a back VAP, but in the current rendition with the 2 E-Webs, I don't like it as much, because you're still kind of like not really forcing the back one as much with 2 bikes. You certainly aren't. No problem to tap yours, but I think you have all kinds of problems if you can't stop a force user from getting in your back lines. So for me personally, I would drop intercept. I would go to bombing run. I would drop sab, and I'd go to breakthrough, because I don't hate walking 3 units of snowtroopers across the table.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So bikes and flame across the table, absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
I like it because every unit that I have scores in breakthrough. Every unit that I have scores in KP. Every unit that I have pushes a cart, and
Yep.
every unit that I have can carry a bomb. In this
Yep.
particular one, right now, as is, I have 4 units that cannot score intercept point. I have 4 units that can't interact with a VAP.
Yep.
So For those reasons, I would make those changes.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, let's have a look at deployments. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. All right, so having a look at the deployments, um, interesting choices again here. I like doing this segment because I love the choices that people make.
Oh, agreed. This is such an interesting part of
Advanced
list
positions,
building.
rollout, a long march, and danger close. All right, you go.
I love the first three a lot better if you have four bikes rather than two. I'm honestly danger close isn't that bad. I think with four bikes, because you got four bikes to flank, but you also start decently close, so your flamers can get in. Um, I don't know. Long march and rollout are. It's interesting. They're good for bikes, but they are a lot more difficult for flamers.
Do you
Maybe
do
you
you um do you wonder why danger close isn't in the list?
uh like the current list, kind of
Yeah, like
the
you have e-webs, so I feel like setting up a nice base of fire could be could be there. I agree. Striker, you're getting where I'm at.
100%.
I also, for that exact reason, what Striker just pointed out, rollout with two bikes to me, I feel like I'm giving up too much. Sometimes when you're looking at these, like if you were to pick the mirror match, right, and you went Blizzard Force via Blizzard Force, two bike versus four bike, a rollout is scary. Someone with like two trucks, real scary. Someone with multiple vehicles, and you're giving rollout because you don't really want them to reach your lines quicker than you can get to theirs. I don't love that. Four bikes, absolutely, no problem.
Yeah.
Um, the long march is okay. Like again with Vaps is a little bit interesting. I don't like long march Vaps. Because I find
Yeah.
that putting your VAPs in a great position is difficult, and in fact, it's one of the well, there's a few objectives, but or deployments, but you're actually putting them closer to your enemy versus something like a major offensive where you can kind of back tuck them on your back edge. So I wouldn't hate to see like sorry, and I said danger close. I actually meant hemmed in. Re
Yeah.
restate my statement. I meant hemmed in. Um, I might replace Long March in this list. And if it's as Ryan has it, I'd also get rid of Rollout. I think Major Offensive finds its way into this list, no problem. I think Hemmed In is probably okay as well. I liked Hemmed In with bikes. Four bikes on a red player hemmed in. You can attack your opponent from all kinds of crazy angles. And if you got 11 activations, you don't have to overcommit to getting those bikes down. And even if you put one bike on the near edge and the other three in the other one, it can quickly rejoin its partners in crime, and you can swing a huge flank push in on hemmed in. Um, what do you feel about advanced positions?
Advanced positions. I mean, at one point it's very nice because it the scout one is great for your snows because with flamers you need to get the range one to be fully effective.
Yep.
Um, it does also still give you pretty decent flanking options for the bikes, right? And if you're worried about things on the other side, you can hold them back to the very corner and then just swing them through your deployment zone before bringing them in.
Yep.
Or if I mean, you'll be an 11 act list. So if your opponent's mostly down and they got a weak side, you can just put everything there and just punch through that as well.
Yeah. A couple things I would state. I'm going to go back to my other point about hemmed in as well. Hemmed in on red, if you play payload, it's bad. So, but playing hemmed in payload, or if payload's a potential, as red, you got that last cancel. So you should avoid that at all costs, and you have the ability to do that. That's one point. Coming back to advanced positions, I don't love advanced positions for a four bike list, or even a two bike list, because you have to choose what you're going to front with. If you put your bikes on the back edge or back further because you want to front load with your flame troopers, I feel like your real estate's sort of taken up, or it could be monopolized, depending on what your terrain looks like as well. Um, he also has a lot of like turn two, turn six, don't necessarily need to go too early type missions. So objectives, I should say. So if you were playing like payload, bombing run, breakthrough, things like that, and you wanted to be sort of close or have that threatening frontage, I think these are okay to have advanced positions. But like, I don't know if I need to front edge on a KP. Like,
Yeah.
I think you're just set up to get mowed by a gun line there. I don't think you need to be threatening the middle point on intercept. Again, he doesn't have a lot of meat in those units that he's going to be bringing forward. Snowtroopers at the end of the day are just snowtroopers. They're a single red save with no surge conversion for defense. So, and because he's at a current two bike variant, you don't pack that same alpha strike off that either. You have e-webs, so you're much more passive in receiving there. Yes, you can cover an objective in the middle, fine, but if that's the case, somebody's just going to pick your e-webs off from range 4 anyway. Um, so I don't necessarily love advanced positions with the objective choice. I think if you change the list, you could probably live with that. If you change some of the
Yeah.
objectives and you want to go like a bombing run advanced positions feels real good with bikes. Real good.
Oh yeah.
It even feels good with troopers for that matter. But hemmed in feels even better on bombing run. So I think he could find the way to get bombing run in. If he didn't want to change any objectives or deployments, I think he's okay. But I still think it comes down to if you got e-webs, I don't think you want to be making any of these deployments close to your opponent. So
Yeah.
major offensive has to find its way in, I think. And with intercept, major offensive feels so good. You just park an e-web on your back point to start. So like it's just there. So I don't mind that. But yeah, that's my take on the deployments. Okay, want to move on to the conditions?
You bet.
Okay, conditions: supply drop, hostile, minefield, war weary. Definitely playing the suppression game up here in
100%.
hostile and war weary, and I'm okay with both choices.
Agreed.
um,
Especially with Officer Snows.
yeah, why no limited visibility?
Yeah. I think limited vis would be great in this list.
I think if you're gonna go four snows in the current rendition, I think limited visibility is just a nice way to get them in the position fast and get them
Definitely.
in a position protected. That being the case, what do you drop in supply drop?
I drop supply drop.
Yeah, me too.
Um, I like supply drop when you have either like a force user or a Mandalorian or some big character that can benefit from it really well. And this list doesn't have that.
No, agreed, agreed. I think you do. Hey, Travis, I think you find a way to get limited visibility, and that's my take for sure. I don't mind minefield, hostile, war weary for sure. Um, I don't know if it's what the whole take on minefield is here. If he's trying to do more damage to his opponents than you do to yourself, there's that. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Striker. Fortified might not be bad. I think Fortified, if you were gonna run the E-webs, still that feels like an okay choice. Throw a barricade down and make sure that you can either plan your I will use this pathway for your E-web. It doesn't have plotting, but you know what I mean. That sort of methodical move to wherever it needs to be on the table. So moving from barrier to barrier feels like a pretty good way to do it. Yep, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I was suggesting. But yeah, that's an okay choice. I would be okay with fortified, to be perfectly honest. I think it's nice to have. If you're gonna do the peekaboo with your snowtroopers, and maybe that turn that you don't really want to necessarily move back in because maybe you need to contest a point or push a cart or do all those things. But you can still peek out from the cover you were behind and still be in heavy cover in the new location. I think that's also fine. So yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. Getting a fortified in there, dropping supply, and putting limited, and then keeping the hostile in the war weary. So, how do you feel about war weary and then having just Courage 2 commanders?
Um, it's not the worst
It's like a
in
little
this
bit
list.
playing with
Most
fire.
It is a little bit, but I mean, you do also have Inspire 3 in the list because you got two off Veers and one off the Officer.
Yep.
Two of your snows are also Courage 2, which is
Nope.
really good
Agreed.
as well.
Yeah.
So you don't really worry about that as much. Um, like War Weary doesn't really matter for what courage your commander is because if you want to get the bubble, you have to stick close by anyways.
Yeah.
So
And
even if you have Vader, right, you got to be at range 1 of Vader, which is a lot tougher than you would think.
yeah, no, I think War Weary is always playing with fires. Kind of what I just to finish my full thought there. I
Yeah.
think he's hedging the bet that his suppressive output will be
Mm-hmm.
higher, and I think it will be
Agreed.
on average than most lists. And so War Weary to me, I feel like that goes in there. Um, War Weary would go in there, and I think would be a force cancellation potentially for your opponent. Justice asking, what if you don't go to four bikes? And I think we've been trying to put that in there, right? Like
Yeah.
justifying why he has the things that he has with the two e-webs. And again, just saying I wouldn't necessarily think fortified's great if I'm running the four bikes. I wouldn't necessarily care that much over that. Limited certainly would be for the four bike option. Um, I think you're okay with the e-web to take that as well if you want to positionally get that in place. But again, um, that would be, I guess it'd be contingent on whether you made the change or not. If you go to four bikes, I go limited. If you don't go to four bikes, I don't know. Supply drop always seems to benefit other people more than you. I just hedge that is going to be how that's going to play. And because you're not really super upgrading your units, you might find supply drop great because every little bonus and perk you get them is basically the equivalent of an upgrade you didn't. But I do think supply drop can benefit your opponent far more than you, depending on the pulls. Minefield also fine to include, but I think there's other options that I might put in there besides that. So
Yeah.
just a take. Um, like rapid reinforcements. Oh, thank you very much. My wife just brought me a drink, so I didn't have to die.
Beauty.
Rapid reinforcements with the snow troopers that he has in the list, I think would be an okay substitute
Yeah,
as
that's a
well.
decent option.
Yeah. So if you wanted to add in a rapid reinforcements, let's say you want to keep your eWeb build, and let's say that you like the minefield option with your eWebs, I think you can drop the supply drop and get in reinforcements. If you wanted to drop supply and minefield and take a fortified and the rapid reinforcements, I think you could do that as well. So
Yeah. And honestly, with four bikes, Minefield isn't that bad because you got
totally
four
isn't.
units that can't trigger it at all.
No, absolutely. And again, just going to Justice's point about not merely
Yeah.
suggesting to go to four bikes. I just think Justice, and I know it's like seems like we're kind of nitpicking on that. I just think that two bikes doesn't accomplish one of the main
Anything.
things that you're trying to do with Blizzard Force Alpha. And I
Yeah.
think the e-webs are they're kind of like a halfway measure because I think your heavy response teams, they fill every role that those e-webs do, but better. Bigger dice pool, longer range, more mobile, more wounds, ability to gain cover, to mitigate getting one shotted. Um, if you have a heal in the list, you can bring back strategically the weapon of choice. I know that e-webs have no diminishing rate of fire, which is great, but I like the heavy response teams filling that role, and I think they just overshadow the e-webs currently in their current rendition. Hey, maybe they'll get a points drop. Maybe they'll get some keywords added. Maybe they'll go to range 4. Who knows? But currently, I think that's where I'm at with that. So, all right, Jace, time to do the little quick recap here. So, suggestions that we had said: possibly going to four bikes, possibly getting rid of a flame trooper, or a snow trooper rather. Adding potentially a medic and or some combination of electro binoculars and improvised orders.
Yep.
Command hand, we liked pretty much all of it currently. maybe if you're going to drop and switch to the bikes, you're going to maybe put in assault as opposed to imperial discipline. I don't think there's anything else that we really touched there at all.
Nope.
Objectives, I was suggesting that intercept maybe goes by the wayside, as
Yep.
well as sabotage, and maybe you look at
Agreed.
bringing bombing run or breakthrough. That again, that's mostly contingent on the fact that we want to bring in bikes. The reason that we don't like those current ones, whether you're e-webs or bikes, is because you have fewer units interacting with some of these objectives versus others. The deployments, a little bit of back and forth here. What I would include, what I wouldn't. That's again is going to be contingent on how many changes that you made. I might have a look at hemmed in. I do think that's a great objective. Advanced positions feels a little out of place here in some regards, and I think major offensive is a nice, soft, neutral bet here to bring in. Rollout for sure goes if you don't switch for me, and maybe you leave advance and just put major in where rollout goes. If you're going to go to 4 bikes, again, I think rollout's a great choice, specifically if you're going to make any of those breakthrough bombing run swaps. I know that bombing run's not going to help you there in terms of getting your bombs on your bikes, but you can still send out you can still send your bikes out super fast from this deployment if you want to both harass and alpha strike. You do not need to be range 1 out of your deployment zone to get bombs off in this deployment. So feels good, and it's good for other reasons if you don't take bombing run. And then lastly, on conditions, we talked about the potential of maybe putting rapid reinforcements and or fortified and or limited visibility. Again, lots of contingencies to consider there. I think hostile and war weary are 2 good staples to leave in, and I think you got some playroom with the other options. So hello Donnie as well. So there you go, Ryan. That is all the suggestions that we have for you on this episode of Make It Better. Hopefully you took something away from that you may try. Maybe you don't use everything, or maybe you just took our advice and said, that's absolutely garbage. Put that in the trash can. I will never win worlds with any of that advice, but thanks for trying. And it remains to be seen as to what the end result is. So, all right, Jace, we're gonna swap over. We have 4 spots in the donation giveaway tonight, taken care of. So one more, you will be the recipient of the stickers and the card sleeves. But thank you already to our folks Graham, Justice, Ryan, and Jake, all taking advantage collectively. Let me see what you guys helped us out here with. Let me do quick math on this. 20, 4, 50, 60, 85. So what's 85 times 3, Jace? Is that around like 255, something in there, that range?
85 times 3 would be 255. Yeah.
Oh, look at that math. So
Quick math.
$255 already raised on tonight's stream. Thank you very much, folks. I can already smell the bird dog getting closer. So, all right, Jace, if you are ready, we're going to jump to roundtable. But before we do, I want to thank our last 2 Gamers Grass supporting the studio, of course, in the builds that we do. A big help for the Shire project. So stay tuned on Patreon for that. There's a lot of grass tufts that will be laid in the coming months for sure. And as well, we'll just thank the location that we're playing in currently, the Train Studio. As always, we appreciate both your viewer and your support. If you want to help us out, it is thetrainstudio2019@gmail.com. Greatly appreciate that. Make sure you guys do not miss our giveaway on the 30th. That is another way we can say thanks for the help. And thanks to all of our sponsors, we can say thank you in more generous ways, in the form of battle forces and card sleeves and paintbrushes and models and painted models and all that great stuff. So, all right, here's the round table. Let's get into it. Okay, Jace, we are back for the round table this evening, episode 148. 2 more episodes. We made 150 episodes. That is a lot. And whatever number we're at for Friday Night Fights, I think we're cresting near 80 now. It's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, something,
a lot of time.
Something like that.
That's a lot of time in front of a computer to get ready for these shows. And then not to mention the time that we're on here. So, okay, so topics for tonight are this: World's predictions. Wherever you want to go with that. You can predict anything. You can predict what food is going to give the first person, you know, the one-way ticket to the washroom. There's that. Um, what did somebody say the other day on the Discord? Somebody was going on about a Denny's gift card or something. I don't know. There's some sort of crazy reference. I should get Anthony some Denny's gift cards for Christmas. Um, we also have the biggest winners, and so that can be for like releases, predictions for the points updates, biggest winners, for tournaments, who's been capitalizing on the current meta. It can be anything. Biggest winners. That's your lead right there. Denny shirts for lifetime meals. Fantastic. Points drop date. We're going to take your prediction, so you can come in and tell us whenever you think it is. It is early December. That is what we were being told. We don't have any inside information on anything, but that is another thing we can have a conversation around. And my top 3 in Legion, you can go wide open with that. Could be top 3 worst units, top 3 best units, top 3 factions, top 3 favorite cards, command cards, moments, whatever. Your top 3 in Legion. Come and share that with us. So let me drop the link in here. Let me grab it. Boom. There it is. And in. You are open for business. It is 1:36. We will go no more than 23 minutes because I would like to end here. Oh, right. We got the eWeb Master joining in. That's unfortunate. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Look at this guy. Wow. I don't even think the chat is ready for this guy, but we're going to bring him in anyway. Just 1 second here. It's been a minute since I clicked buttons. All right. Welcome, eWeb Master. What do you got for us? Please, somebody else come fill the other box beside the eWeb Master. Thank you. We have another one coming in. All right, eWeb Master, go ahead. You are in the booth.
Oh, well.
And you're very quiet. You're very quiet,
Yeah.
right? Got to turn yourself up, Ryan.
His,
Bring it
his
up
talking's
closer.
as good as his hearing, Sean.
Bring it up closer to your mouth.
Talking's as good as his hearing, Sean.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks again for all the tips on that list I sent you.
Yeah, no worries.
So funny story about that. Oh, it's my best friend.
I'm gonna put you in here. I'm gonna mute you so we don't hear back through you. But yes, go ahead. I'm gonna mute you so we don't hear back through you. But yeah.
So funny story about that list actually. So had a sleepover Friday night with Justice. It was awesome.
A sleepover?
Sleepover ever. Yeah.
Okay.
Went out to a tournament about 4 hours away from here, and ran that list. Went 3-0, and picked this puppy up right behind me.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's a nice bowling trophy.
Oh, thanks. This thing is like 5'7".
Okay.
It's as tall as my wife, so. So that list, hopefully everyone saw, like, how I think with Legion now. Like, you guys made some points, like, why the 2 bikes, why the 2 E-webs, and part of that is activation padding. I did run quad E-webs for a while, but they just couldn't get to where I wanted to.
Oh, he's not the real eWeb Master then. Gotcha.
I am the real E-web master. Just wait till they're all range 4, and you're going to see a ton of E-webs everywhere because guys are going to be like, oh, these are the best unit ever. And then they just lose them because they don't know how to run them.
So let's preface. How big was this event that you went to?
24 players.
And how many games did you play?
3.
And so you were 3-0. And how many 3-0s were there?
3.
3.
Okay. So you were the best 3-0.
Yeah, because due to time they only did 3 rounds and they were using the new software.
Okay. And what list did you play against?
I played against a Vader Blizzard Force, and he had an E-web and an Imperial officer by the end of the game, and I only lost one
And
unit of bikes.
new player to Legion, veteran playing
No,
since
he,
day
he
one.
also went 2-0. I think all my guys have been playing since day one, but all my opponents went 2-1. Round 2, I tabled that guy. He was doing double bounty rebels with a bus, tauntauns, fleet troopers, veteran line. Ended up tabling him. The high point of that was I killed Din round 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then my round 3 opponent was someone who I've met before a few years ago at another tournament in St. Louis, and he was running Blizzard Force as well, but he was running Veer's
A lot of
ATSD.
Blizzard Force. Yep.
He was running Veer's ATSD quad bike,
Mm-hmm.
and calculated if they were doing MOV, I would have ended with a 1-0 MOV.
A 1-0?
1-0, a perfect MOV, if they were doing MOV.
Okay.
Objectives and conditions were round 1, danger close with payload. Round 2 was recover the supplies and battle lines, and then round 3 was breakthrough and long march.
Okay, so two objectives that we said you should include in your deck. Then you still were able to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
So
And I was red player the entire day.
and hemmed in, which I think is also okay for your list. So
Yeah. Well, part of that, like.
so let me ask you this, Ryan, before we get
Go ahead. Yeah.
too far here. You're taking this to Worlds. This would be your Worlds list right now.
No.
Okay.
And that's only because I know we have a point update coming out in a few weeks.
Yep.
So I gotta wait to see that. My thing is I don't bring the same list twice to a tournament.
Aren't you glad that I told you to take heavy response units in your Blizzard Force because your original build had none of them?
Yeah, and that was the other thing. Like I was playtesting with it a bit. Like last week when you guys were talking about HRUs being broken, I can't agree with that. Like I just can't.
Okay.
Okay. This I
Sorry,
definitely need to.
I can't.
Sorry, we haven't
Yeah.
heard from Justice in a minute. So before you get in, because before I tell you you're 100% wrong, I will see what Justice has to say. All right, I got you. Go ahead, Justice.
Is there still an echo? I tried fixing it.
I can't hear one currently. I think you were good.
Yeah, no, you fixed it.
Justice is allowed to talk tonight.
Oh, thank goodness. Been trying to work on that. I'm glad Ryan got like 3 minutes there for the first time. You know? So HRUs are completely busted. I already talked to Ryan about this.
Thank you.
And how he wants E-Webs to go to range 4. And I'm like, man, HRUs are throwing 6 die at range 4. You're gonna toss that on E-Webs? Like, so I told him, give you a shot, and they might be like pretty good there because they still gotta spend a name to get the range. He completely disagrees with that. He thinks HRUs are just good where they're at.
But what do you mean by good where they're at? Like they
A-
are
a-
fantastic where
E-Webs,
they're at.
HRUs.
I think they're
Mhm.
fine with where they're at points wise and faction wise because you can only take them in one list. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. How many
only take 'em in one
non-Blizzard
list.
Force Empire lists besides Double Bounty did you run into? Because really, to me, I think.
Into?
Well, I mean, did you see?
There were
Because you played 3 games and it sounds like you played 2 Blizzard Forces.
There was
I did play 2 Blizzard Forces. There were 2 other Imperialists I know off the top of my head that were not. Justice played one of them.
Because you played Blizzard Force, Double Bounty, and Blizzard Force.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it
to
was
my
Rebel
point,
Bounty-
there is
Rebel
no other
Bounty,
Empire.
Double Bounty. I don't know. Justice played an Iden Double Bounty that was really good. He also went 3-0.
Like, so another Double Bounty.
Yeah.
That's Empire right now.
But like Empire right now it is Blizzard Force. But Justice and I were talking the entire time during the stream of
Except when
that
you have your
quad
sleepover.
bikes
Did you guys sleep at all in your sleepover?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we stayed up, played Battlefront. It was awesome. You got to come down here and have a sleepover. Like,
Well, if I came there, can we just not call it a sleepover? Like, could it just be like like a visit, like or like
a visiting sleepover.
sleepover
Um,
sounds so juvenile.
so it's locked in there, but like we were talking, and people are countering quad bikes now. Because they know this is the thing. This is how you counter it. Plus, at the same time, like Empire is also starting. You're starting to see a lot of double bounty as well, because we have I think 6 bounty hunters now, and have access to all 6 bounty hunters, and one of them is getting upgraded.
Right.
So I think it's like I don't think Blizzard Force is as broken, I want to say, or as powerful as people make it out to be. One of our other buddies, Landon, who has been like in chat just lurking, he played a 12-act Echo-based Defenders, and that guy brought 4 FD cannons with him.
Yep, that's a pretty good response to bikes until you've got to play a mission that you got to move.
Yeah, but like there's a way to counter it.
Oh, there's a way to counter everything for sure. The FD cannons are good choices for sure. I think Echo based defenders is a good list. I think it might have been maybe overhyped as the best one out of the box. Like we felt it was pretty good, and it's got that one huge standby card that's difficult to play around, not impossible. There is definitely cards to get around that for sure.
And I think part of that also was a lot of people like the suppression game hasn't been played since Krennic dropped. Lists definitely changed where players were like, "Oh, I'm going to play a suppression heavy list." Like they're not as prevalent as they used to be. I think Blizzard Force brought.
I don't know. I think I'm playing a suppression heavy list right now. Like
yeah, with Shadow, but like
Mm-hmm.
with like Krennic, Bosk, but you're doing it with Shadow Collective, which isn't interesting. But they're starting to come back now, and I think part of that is part of Pikes and Blizzard Force.
Well, I think suppression. I don't think that any one faction is immune to suppression. I think there is mitigation within factions for sure, but suppression affects almost every faction with the exception of droids the same. Getting around suppression is well, droids don't really mitigate suppression. They just get to a threshold and then they're basically useless. Um, but I think suppression has been around and has always been quite effective. Like I'm just thinking about, Master of Evil has always been a very scary card when that goes off. Palp bombs have always been scary. Even the stock standard suppressive weapons have been pretty oppressive. Double tapping with a locked dird tank has been scary. So I think suppression has always been around. I don't think that I think there's units and armies right now that are able to put it out at a much more expeditious route than before with certain command cards. Demoralize is a nice and neat trigger to getting that out, especially if you can stack it up. By itself, it's not overly scary. Overrun was another thing that I think brought out, like being able to overrun and displace and shoot. Those were all crazy tactics that have been out. Like the Fluttercrafts are able to do that with almost impunity. Like they're really hard to stop getting into your lines. I think Blizzard Force does it, but they're also very susceptible to it.
Which is why I have Veers and 3 Imp officers.
What do you mean 3? Oh, you mean in your flame units? Yeah. No, for sure. I'm more worried about like your HRUs. Those like you basically have to babysit those. I think with a source of inspire.
Not, kind of, but I mean that's why I kind of max every slot out I can, because once again, we all know heavies don't exist. So that's it.
Right.
Makes it easier for me to time that since I have Inspire 4. So if I go early, I still am not going to be hindered by that as much. But then also why I'm taking Imperial Discipline to give them those recovers if needed. Which
Right.
definitely, it came in handy because I had to deal with a Master of Evil bomb, but I made my opponent pay for it.
Yeah. What
But
were
then
the
all
other
I did
3-0
was,
lists? Just out of curiosity.
So the other one was that Iden Double Bounty.
Yep.
And then another one was, it was Veers and Op Vader, but it wasn't Blizzard Force.
Okay.
So that was another one.
Interesting.
And two guys that I'm best friends with as well.
So all Empire winners.
Yes, and fourth, because it was SOS, because Fifth Trooper, as we all know, is a fan of SOS, and they're going to do that before MOV. The 12-act Echo-based Defenders got fourth.
Okay. That's a good showing for something not Empire. And what was the faction? What was the faction breakdown?
Probably 75% Empire. I can.
I can pull that up for you.
Awesome.
I can slap the link in the Discord if anyone wants to see the list breakdown or faction breakdown. Lists haven't been unlocked just because it's a new system. The guys, I'm sure.
Hang on.
It.
Sure. While you're looking at that, when I was talking about the league, I forgot that Sean Deathan sent me over some league stats, and I'll hit you with this. So, some people in the league already got like 13 points. I need to pick up the pace here. Justice, where are you sitting at the league? You got yourself. I'm just looking at this chart. I'm not. If I'm reading it roughly, sitting at 4 points right now. Is that you?
Nothing crazy.
Yep, 4 points. I've only played one game. Did you get? You got 2 games in our right?
I've only played 2. Yeah.
Yeah, one against me.
I
and
lost
then,
the one to you, and I won the other one.
Yeah. I gotta get going with that.
And then
I wouldn't
I've got a
call
game
your guys'
Monday.
game played.
Okay.
When only one player's playing full 6
I'm
rounds.
actually glad you're here. So what was the part of the game wasn't played here?
One of you was playing 6 rounds. The other one was playing 2.
I played 6 rounds.
I don't know about that. Actually played.
100% played. I played to my list. I played to my list strengths, and I didn't throw my units into the blender that was Pikes being fire supported.
Which he did. Justice did run that list in the league on Saturday. Went 2-1. Had a real close round 2 game. What you tabled? I'll just let you talk about it.
He got the.
I mean,
Obi-Wan.
I'm taking some credit for it.
Yeah.
Because he had to borrow some pikes from me.
Yeah, I decided to run that what I'm naming the impenetrable shield list, and I was the only Gar player, which awesome. So I'm the only Gar player. I'm running Obi-Wan, and several people laugh at me at the start of the tournament. So that was fun. Yeah,
sounds
the
like
only
that sounds
match
like
I
a bullying
lost
environment. You should have left immediately.
Right. But yeah, Obi-Wan got taken out. I had tied it on what was it? Sabotage. And I only time. Just took me a little longer to get there because he had a lot of range 5 units with high velocity. So, but I also got that faction breakdown for the tournament for the lists that are at least like shown, because some of them load. There's 10 Empire, 3 Rebels, 2 Shadow Collective, 6 Separatists, and 1 Gar.
Wow. Okay, that wasn't a big spread at all.
Yeah, we do things a little differently here in the Midwest. I think that, like, for Worlds predictions, I'll start going since I already hit biggest winners.
Oh yeah, hold on a sec before we go too far. I wanted to give I want to finish my thought on the red versus blue in the league game so far. Jake does have a. By the way, Jake generously gave up like a bounty point to every single person. So former champion couldn't have gone down faster. Just want to point that out. Jace, we'll clip that just so we have that in infamy. So a lot of players have only played a couple games, but I think we're going to see a furious. I hit the ping out today, and lots of people scrambling for games now, which is great. Blue has only won 30% of the games, by the way, 31% of the games. So a lot of red victories. And then in the objectives played in the league, and this is kind of a good little spread here. I like to see this. 5% breakthrough, 5% payload, 5% SAB, 10% intercept, 20% KP, 26% bombing run. I'm pretty sure that's not a very typical breakdown, and 26% on hostage exchange. I'm just going to point this out, and I'm going to make my predictions. I'm going hard on any Force user that likes hostage exchange in the next round, because hostage exchange is not something that I'm trying to have any part of right now. But over 50% of the games played so far have been hostage or bombing run in our league. Ryan just shakes his head. And by the way, Stryker pointed out there's no way that Justice and I actually could have had a game finish if I didn't actually play the game.
Okay.
So I did actually
We'll
flip over activation tokens.
We'll just call it the most uninteractive game ever.
Listen, if Justice and I were playing for funsies on the table and we weren't in some sort of competitive environment, which the league is, even though we can have fun and joke and have a good time doing it, I might throw units away. But if I'm not gonna play it how I want to play, then there's no point in practicing just random throwaway stuff. If I just drove stuff into him and he blew me up, he would have learned nothing in that game either. So yeah, he just learned I'm super boring to play Legion with. That's what he learned. So
I'll just keep it in the discussion.
I learned
topics.
swoop bikes do tricks in the backfield.
that's absolutely what you learned. Yeah.
So yeah, after hitting the biggest winners, which was the three of us from Omaha, Nebraska, my world's predictions. Jeez, who the hell knows? I mean,
Of all people, you should know, Ryan. You know a lot of things in Legion.
I do. I know a lot, but it's so weird because the game is in a weird place right now to where we get a super late points drop, super late. And the game ultimately feels like we're in a good spot right now, to where you can take whatever the hell you want, as long as you know it, and you're not one of those guys who's on a Friday night in a Facebook group like, I have a tournament tomorrow. What list is really good? Like, one, you should probably not be playing in that tournament. Two, you should probably learn how to play the game. And three, let me know when you go 0-3 or you drop at 0-2.
You think a lot of Worlds invitees are going to be like posting in from their Adepticon hotel room, like, what should I take tomorrow to Worlds?
No, but
that's your prediction.
I'm expecting a lot of guys who played at their local rally point or prime championships are like, I don't know what I'm going to run. Maybe I'll run the same thing that I ran, 4 years ago. Which, I mean, I know one player locally is trying to get clones and work with that, but I'm like, okay, good luck.
I mean, Justice is right here, so you shouldn't talk about him like that.
Oh, no, like, it... so it's... But I definitely think something's telling me we're not going to see a lot of pikes, because I'm expecting pikes... saying this with a grain of salt because we both know AMG has been focused on other things, that pikes will probably go up in points in some form or another. I know we're all going to see the IG Assassins and Den and Shadow Collective at some point, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot that's like earth-shattering. I mean, I can't wait for that other content creator to put their top 8 meta lists for Worlds out, and then you see none of them at Adepticon, just like they did at LVO this year. So, Worlds is just going to be a giant grab bag of a hot hodgepodge of different lists, which
Maybe
hopefully,
maybe that's okay though, because
yeah,
people
and
have won their
I love
invites
that.
at such a wide breadth of time that
Mhm.
maybe mixing it all up right before is the only way to create some sort of equalizing factor.
Yeah, and I love that about this game. Like Justice, like getting made fun of playing Obi-Wan. Like if I've
Why?
never met Justice in my life, like no, I love that. I'm
I
shaking his
think
hand
the
like,
list is
dude.
was good.
I don't look at the list. I look at like a few years ago. I got excited with a guy because he brought Han and Chewie, which at that time was not prevalent. I was like, dude, I love that you're bringing these units we don't see. He's like, yeah, they're my favorite characters. You know, I play with them all the time, and I think that like makes Legion a great game because at the end of the day, I 100% believe there's no such thing as a meta in this game, and if you play with what you know and what you're comfortable with, you're gonna do really well.
I think that applies in local context more than it would in a wide open 150 player tournament.
Kind of, but at the same time, like if everyone's playing the same thing and you bring this one outlier, like E-Webs for example, or Obi-Wan, because no one sees these or uses them, it throws people off a bit. Which is why I run 12 to 14 act Empire, because 12 to 14 act Empire is unheard of.
But do you
It
think
is the outlier.
I mean, okay, 12 is more than 11. I know numbers. But do you think that people are really fooled by 11 plus act Empire at this point?
After what my experience was a few days ago, and for the last 4 years, yes.
We're gonna add Landon into the mix. Landon, I'm not gonna be rude. I'm just gonna
Perfect.
put you right in the middle here. Just cover
We
over the
got the
middle.
That's
whole Omaha crew right
that's
now. I love this.
fine.
Awesome. All right. First off, Landon, are you a pro Ryan or an anti Ryan?
Which,
I
choose
love.
your words carefully.
Here's how he. So pretty much 3 months ago, he taught me how to play this game, and here's how he taught me. He just threw whatever he wanted at me, and I was like, "Fuck this!" And then he
To
eventually.
be fair,
And then I was like,
to be fair, he said, "I want to learn how to play competitively," which, if anyone knows me, those are the things you should never say, because I'm just gonna steamroll through you and tell you what you did wrong after the game. Because that's how I teach. Like, I want you at your
I mean,
thought process, go through
as
everything, and then
as
I'll
an
tell you when you
educator,
made mistakes.
we often feel that grinding over individuals and not meeting them at their level and bringing them up is one of the best methods. And by that I
you're
mean
not wrong,
opposite of
Greg.
that. I mean opposite of that.
Yeah.
You know, you have
Also,
a different
quick interruption.
education system in Canada.
Am I the only one that makes it look like Ryan's in a sauna? Just with his background, like
So this is actually
That's
crazy,
normal.
and I'm trying to like chat if you guys can like pump up the paneling for me, because my wife is like, we need to take it down, and I'm like, no, I kind of like it. And now since
no, it
Jason
looks like you're in a
said
sauna, man. Like,
it's
nah.
perfect. It's
First
perfect.
off, your
I love
wife's
it.
not wrong. Secondly,
Yeah, your house looks like my grandparents,
Thanks, guys.
and they've lived in the same one since the 40s.
secondly, was this the location for the sleepover? Because if it was, it's an appalling location.
Yes, dude, we had a great time. Don't lie.
I was there for all of an hour. Looked fun.
Justice, E-Web is the safety word if that is not accurate. So at any point henceforth,
Well,
Okay.
okay. So here's the other thing with World's predictions. I mean, I think
I gotta bring it up organically though.
I think after today, you might see a few more of those E-Webs. Because after that tournament, I had one
Oh,
guy
yeah.
ask me, what did you run? And I went through my list, and winning that, so they gave top 4 tons of store credit. I got $200 in first.
Good.
Second place got 100, and then third and fourth got 60. So as I'm checking out with my $200 of minis, this guy who I told my list, I look over to my right, and he's got 2 E-Webs in his hand. I'm like, dear God, it's begun.
yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
Dude, just wait till they're range 4. I'm telling you, they're gonna go up 5 points, go range 4, and it's gonna be awesome.
So let me ask you this. Because you do not own 4 eWebs.
I do.
Oh, you
Yes,
do
he does.
now. Oh, you now
I
own
do
4 eWebs.
I own 4 eWebs.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
That
I thought you previously said you did not have 4 eWebs. You do not have
Nope, I
4
got
bikes.
4.
I think you told me.
No, and so the funny thing is I can actually run a 12-act 4-bike list.
Yes.
I just don't want to do that because I still think eWebs are vastly superior.
Landon, did you play at this tournament?
Yeah, I
What-
went
what-
2-1.
2-1. Were you playing? Were you playing the Echo base? Was that you?
I
You
played again.
against it.
Oh, against it. Oh, okay, gotcha. What did you play?
Iden Din with a bunch of snipers.
Okay, fantastic. Some more Empire.
I
Hey,
was
we're
very
working on his girlfriend right now to play some Rebels. She's trying to get into it, so working on that.
Okay.
And then my wife plays clones, so
Donnie pointing out that he has dusty eWebs in his collection. I don't remember much about them. Yeah, no one does. So there's just small pocket. I mean, there's many small pockets on the globe of, people doing things that are from antiquated times, and and they're still finding success with that. But when they go into the bigger world, Ryan, quickly realize that maybe that's not the case in all places. But
yeah, I'm telling you, as soon as they go to range 4,
I think
you're
this
gonna
is
be
why
using them a lot
Ryan
more.
needs to join the league.
I think Ryan does need to join the league. I mean, I think Ryan and Jake should be in the same pod. That'll be fun.
It's what,
Oh, yeah.
Jake and I just don't play each other?
No, you guys can play
on
each other.
purpose, just to spite you?
That's fine. If you don't want to earn points, that's fine. You guys can be relegated to the basement spots. That's okay. I only call it basement spots if you're there. Everyone else is just pool B.
Yeah.
But
So we could submarine.
I mean, you could submarine, but then you'd actually have to join the league and be good. So there's that. See, Jake's all for it. I mean, is that even a Legion trophy? Like, okay, like I've won lots of tournaments, and Jace has won lots of tournaments. Single thing that I've won is in a tub, not displayed anywhere. But
You gotta display it.
you've chose the hard flex. That's good. But is that a Legion trophy, or is that just like a large trophy?
This was a large trophy that the community out there. So the tournament we played at, they call it the Iowa Cup, and they had mostly guys from.
Wait a second. Do you call it that, or does anybody else on the planet call it
No,
that? too?
that was the
That's
event.
what it's
That was the event. Yeah. So it was guys mostly from central and northeastern Iowa. We had a few guys from Wisconsin, and then there were the 3 of us goons from Nebraska.
Mhm.
And the first thing the tournament organizer said was, guys, if this leaves the state, I'm going to be extremely unhappy.
Yep.
Well, it left the state. So on it says on the bottom, Iowa Cup champion.
Okay. Do you have to bring it back?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay. So this is the first time they've done this trophy then.
I think they've done it in years prior, probably for others.
Okay.
But
What's the
I'm
date of
adding
this event? I'm going to add it to my calendar because I want to make this trek next year.
So
Not
they had
to do
it
the sleepover
last-
part, but
Oh, you got to do the sleepover part. Come on. So it was November 19th was when it was, and then talking to this guy because the hospitality out there was great. We got 3 rounds done. Started at 10, got done at 6 with everything.
yep,
So
it's
you
good.
didn't have lunch breaks, and you just rolled through each round, and it was awesome.
How many hours were the rounds? I mean, like how many hours you get?
215.
200,
215.
215?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Those are quick
after
rounds.
talking about
How-
that-
Did you get
Yeah,
6
real-
rounds done in every game?
Some of us got 2 rounds done because they tabled their opponents in 2 rounds.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Justice only went 1 game, only went 4 rounds, I think. We're not gonna bring it up. He's still a little salty about it. But I was told they're gonna have another one.
I
in
won,
the
but
summer.
Okay.
So yeah, another one in the summer, whenever that is. Because again, we had a great time out there. It was fun.
2 rounds tabling, as in your opponent conceded, or you killed all the models in 2 rounds.
killed. So these guys would not concede at all. From talking with my buddies and these two here, so they full on took it, but then some guys would end the game in 2 or 3 rounds.
I've never had a 2-round. I don't think I've ever played 2 rounds in Legion. 3 rounds.
This man
I
got
thought
done
Anthony did at
in-
Dallas.
Oh,
Landon
yeah.
got done in I think maybe an hour into the last round, and then came over and I just gave him this look of go away and kind of scared him.
It's scary.
So
It was the look of
a lot of guys a lot of us got done really early.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between a concession and a tabling. Like,
Oh no, guys would not concede at all.
yeah. They refused to give up.
oh, I mean, there's lessons to be had in losses. So every rep you get
Like,
in there.
My first round for payload, I was done in 4. Like I scored in 4 rounds, and I stopped his bomb cart 3 times in a row, and he was still like, "No, let's keep going." I'm like, "It is literally impossible for you to stop me from moving, and for you to actually score."
You
No,
were
we're gonna keep going. All
You
right.
touched it. You touched in 4. Or you were scoring in 4.
I was scoring in 4.
Oh yeah.
Didn't need the others, but well, no, we'll keep going. All right.
Oh, I mean, if they paid money to be there to play Legion, I can't fault them
Yeah,
for that.
which is great. And I mean, I think again, kind of touching the biggest winners. I think the biggest winners are like those who play for the entire tournament. Because Justice got screwed with his strength of schedule because one guy went 0-2 and dropped. So I mean, if like this game's not 40K, because I've heard stories of guys will lose in their first round and drop. So I think if you're there for a tournament, play it out, see what happens, get some cool swag. You never know what happens, because most of the time I've noticed a lot of these events are like, well, guys are dropping or leaving early. Let's just do all the prizes at the end. Let's hand everything out at the end, which is what I've even started to do, because I've had just one guy locally who will drop. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait and give the good shit out to those who stay.
I think after 2 rounds maybe is an okay spot because there is people. If you are 0-2, I would rather somebody who's 0-2 who plans on dropping drop than have to face like an absolute sour person in the 3rd round, right? Like that's also not fun for round 3.
Yeah.
But since we're looking at strength of schedule again for the next update for when 5th Trooper's like, oh, we finally figured out how to do MOV scoring, I think it should be just a gentleman's agreement of I'm 0-2, I want to go home, still get that round 3 pairing, and just concede and just give the win to that other guy.
Yeah, I think
at that point both guys are 0-2.
Yeah, I think didn't we cross that whole like collusion period
I
where
wouldn't say it's collusion. I think it's just, sportsmanship. Like, I don't want to screw out a guy who...
Fixing the ELO rankings.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that it is collusion. I'm just saying we've already been in that whole realm where you couldn't, like, that's why tournaments were going so long and you couldn't concede and you couldn't coin flip and all those other things. And so,
well, now
I
you
think
still can't concede.
no, I'm
because I don't have to accept your concession.
Yeah, and I just think that there's just a world where my point was going to be that if you're in a tournament to play 3 rounds, I think the best thing, if all is possible, you just play your games. So, yeah. Unless it's Ryan, I'm not giving him the W.
Oh my God,
so.
He lives. The prodigal son returns.
Pally made it. Okay, hey, so we're at our time and we're actually a bit over. Yeah. But before we get out of here, let's hit the real quick, short clips. Ryan, you're going first, so I can make sure that you're short. Hit the top 3 in Legion and give us the point drop date for the points drop.
So my top 3, it's going to be the 3 of us in Nebraska.
Okay, you guys are the top 3
in Legion.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Unless you want units, in which case it's
no, you're done. Moving on.
Nope, you're done.
Points
You're
drop
done.
date.
All right,
point drop date.
And the points drop date. Looking at my calendar, and it will probably be the week of December 5th. during that time. If not, it will probably be December 27th.
Okay.
In which case, you got to work double time and making some lists for that event on the 30th.
Okay.
Dude, I make my list like the day before. Like,
Yeah, seriously. Gonna get this. All right, Landon, you're in the middle. You get to go next. Your top 3 in Legion and points drop date.
I'm gonna go top 3 units because that's probably what I'll know best is. I really like shore troopers just because they're stupid.
Okay.
Death troopers are really hard to kill.
Yep.
And then if you set up Veers correctly, you can just pass out a bunch of and stuff just doesn't go away.
All right, got it. And point drop date?
Probably the 2nd or 3rd week of December.
Okay, got it. Good predictions. You guys are all early. Everybody's erring on the side that AMG is accurate in the date. All right, Justice, what do you got for us? Top 3 in Legion.
I'm gonna go with top 3 units. I want to see Galactic Marines as a core option.
Okay.
Just kind of round that out a little for Gar.
Yep.
Clone Commandos, Special Forces option,
Okay.
and Mace Windu
Okay.
as a
All right.
commander.
Got it.
And then a drop date December 6th because they like to do stuff for Tuesdays/Wednesdays, and I think it's gonna actually be early for once.
Okay.
Because I think they want to take the holiday off.
All right. I like it. All right, Jace, give me a top 3 in Legion.
all right, I'm going to go with my top 3 overpowered units. Number 1 is the heavy response team. Number 2 is the 2nd heavy response team. And number 3 is the rest of Blizzard Force. And my points drop date is next Friday.
Next Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going the 3rd.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. All right. I'll give you my top 3 in Legion. These are things that I think need to come into for units. One, I think that we need Hondo in Shadow Collective.
Yeah.
I would like to see some sort of like mercenary Jawa unit, because that would just be cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, super, super cool. And then I'm going to go a little bit off the board, but I've been just watching my way back through Clone Wars. And that like the Clone Walker, was it the ATDP? I think it is called. That Clone Walker is awesome. I know it would be large, but I would love to see that being one of the. It's not quite the AT size, but the Walker for clones as a heavy would be fantastic. Multi points, multi hard points. It'd be really cool. So.
ATTE.
Is it ATET?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
ATTE.
TE. Gotcha. ATTE. Got it.
All-terrain tactical enforcer.
Okay, hey, hold on, Ryan. Host here.
Just mute him.
December 13th is my prediction for the drop date. All right, go ahead.
Can I add for like Hondo that we go the Armada route to where everyone can take Hondo?
Please.
I mean, you just put him in the Shadow Collective and just give him every faction.
Yeah.
But like Hondo would have to have some sort of like, I would love to have him have a flaw card that gets played again. No, because Hondo's always switching sides and backstabbing at any time. Yeah. So I think Hondo would have to have a flaw card that you could hit your opponent with. But anyways, Hondo is on my list of top things I think that we need to have in Shadow Collective.
We'll probably see him in Shatterpoint, and then after he's released in Shatterpoint, 5 years later, Legion's still around. Might get him in
Legion is fine. That sounds like
Legion's fine, dude. All right, let's end it off here.
Yes. Yeah, Ryan won the last trophy in Legion possible. Which doubles as a bowling trophy.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming to hang out, Justice and Landon and Ryan. All good things. Ryan, congratulations on that trophy. I can't wait to see it in every single episode that you appear in from now until when you don't win it and somebody takes it from you.
No, you can see it when you do the sleepover in the summer. Don't worry.
Excellent. Justice, I'm glad you survived the sleepover. Remember the safety words, EWEB. And we'll catch everyone on the next episode. Friday.
EWEB.
EWEB. We'll see you guys on Friday. All right, thanks for coming out, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Chase, let's get over here and we'll end this off here. Just Ryan. I mean, we had to give him his time, his moment in the sun with the most ginormous, obnoxious Legion trophy I've ever seen. So
inside his sauna.
inside, you forgot inside his grandparents' basements, which is the
Yes.
sauna. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
So
Because it doesn't have AC.
no, that's true. See, we live in the, I my walls are decorated appropriately here in my space.
Exactly.
Chase can't reach high enough to hang a picture, so his are all below
Yeah.
the camera angle. But
Yeah.
but the walls are decorated
See?
for
Right.
sure. See,
Oh, other side. See,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
It's
there
right
you go.
there.
Yes, exactly. Hung perfectly to Jace's height. So,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, buddy. Well, you are not here this Friday, but
Nope.
Jace is in Andor's prison. Yes, by the way, no spoilers. Have you got through
Yeah.
all the episodes of Andor, by the way?
I have not. I haven't done last week's.
Okay.
So I think I'm just one,
It's,
maybe
there's,
2
there's
episodes
12.
behind.
There's 12 now. So yeah.
Yeah.
They were they were good. I think that I would encourage people to go check them out. So all right, well, I'll talk to Anthony. We'll figure out something for Friday so we can get some sort of show, and then if not, Jason, I will see you next Tuesday on the 29th, and we'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised, and a points drop will actually come really early December and actually be in November. So that would be super
That'd be awesome.
fun. All right, I will get to sign up for the league so you guys can join up there. Thanks for watching, and
Sweet.
big shouts, I should say, to our 4 donators. So we do have 1 donation spot left, so the next donation comes in at any time. You will get yourself a set of card sleeves and stickers. But thank you, Graham, Ryan, McDonough from memory, Jake, and Justice for the donations tonight. Make sure you guys hit me up with your addresses. I'll get that stuff in the mail, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
See ya.